is a lunch and learn at the St. Pete Museum of History this Friday. The goal there is to take local shops, local merchants, and present them with another option on accepting payments. That's a pretty cool event. You should consider that. Good Burger Awards are the place to be this Wednesday, or Thursday, next Thursday. You'll get a lot of competition. Apparently everybody scheduled their event that day. But the only one we're promoting is the awards for the best St. Peter's burgers. That is at Janus Landing. More info on that can be found on the Chamber's website, stpete.com. I'm going to skip over the next one because you might hear a little bit about that later. Our Entrepreneurial Academy, our 10-week course on how to start and run a business, right here at the Greenhouse, starts on Monday the 8th. You can find info about that at stpete.com/EA. We have coming up the Q3 Celebrate Tech Entrepreneurs at the Pirate Ship at Raymond James Stadium. A couple hundred people will get together, hang out, drink, and win prizes. Marianne is putting that on, so if you have any questions, you can ask her about that. And then finally, there is a fundraiser to buy flamingos for Sunken Gardens coming up on Friday, the 26th of September. There's a local company called Paradigm Learning Systems, which designs board games for Fortune 500 companies. So if there's a new product line and you want to train your employees, they do that. Their base board game is something called Zodiac, which teaches you how to start a business. It's a really cool all-day event where you and your team can compete against other teams to help raise money to buy flamingos. You do not get to keep the flamingos.
Quick question?
Yes, sir.
What do you call a group of flamingos?
Fuck.
Flamboyance. I have two facts in my head.
That's good. I like that. So come and hopefully we can all raise enough money for a flamboyance of flamingos. Our next presenters are that thing I skipped, Startup Quest. Dick Kane and Clay Gambetti from the Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance. This is a national program that is teaching people how to commercialize products and start their own business. It's cool stuff, guys.
I'm going to say, while Clay had said, ready, that the last decision we made last night, we looked at each other and said, do you think we should wear ties? If we knew we were following you, we might have rethought that decision. Say it.
Well, thanks to the Greenhouse, Sean and Maria and Danielle for having us today. So what is Startup Quest? Startup Quest is a training program. We train underemployed and unemployed people specifically to commercialize technologies. So the best example that keeps coming up is Gatorade. It's something that was developed at the University of Florida and then licensed by a separate entity and then a company, Petersburg. So it began in 2011 in Gainesville. There was a high unemployment rate among people that had bachelor's degrees and higher. So the Gainesville Chamber of Commerce and the local workforce board of Gainesville approached the University of Florida and said, can we put together some sort of program to get these high-skilled people off the shelf and help build our economy? So Startup Quest was born then. At the 1-year mark, they had 78 people that graduated the first cohort. At the 1-year mark, 19 companies had been formed. So then that same group went back and wrote a grant for 8 regions in the state to put on Startup Quest. And we were fortunate that Hillsborough County and Pinellas County are actually 2 of the 8 regions in the state that are running the program. And now that was in 2013 that it began here. So now they're looking at making it a national model and expanding it to other states. It's a unique training program, and then it focuses specifically on commercializing technologies. So technologies come from Florida State universities right now, USF, UCF, UF, Florida State, and NASA. So they loan their technologies to the program for our participants to work on and test out. It's a new approach to workforce development. The idea is that there aren't going to be enough jobs in the future, so we need to create jobs for people, and ideally high-tech jobs that are scalable. So here's just a quick visual of the process, sort of. And these are all real pictures from Startup Quest. There's training where participants learn about a specific area of creating their own business each week. And then they're paired with volunteers, community entrepreneurs, executive types that lead teams through this 10-week training program. And the mentors actually select a technology from one of the universities or NASA for their team to work on throughout the training. And so the companies that are formed during the simulation aren't real companies. They're meant purely for training purposes. But the idea is that then the participants have that skill set to be able to go in and talk to the university's tech transfer offices or NASA and actually license the technology and commercialize the technology. So the bottom picture, that's what happened there. This was actually in Gainesville, or a team from Gainesville a few weeks ago. Actually, one of our teams wanted to license this same technology. It was developed by NASA. It's a netting that shoots out from spaceships and catches objects that would be floating away, so it can stop large objects and quickly. So they're looking at using it as a highway safety device. So a team from Gainesville just beat us. That would have been a nice win for us. So I'll let Nick talk about more about the process.
Just want to talk about the process for a minute, because what we want to ask you for is help about where this process should go in the future. And Danielle, just really yell at me on the minute mark. So what happens when you come into, if you're a participant in Startup Quest, we have a formal curriculum about how you commercialize the technology built by the University of Florida. And here's the curriculum. I'll let you read that. But let me give you an example. So if you were working on a technology, and the third lesson is market analysis, what's your goal? If you need to create a market analysis, why are you doing that? Look at that. Wow. I really don't want an answer here. Somebody shout out.
Somebody's going to buy your product.
Say it again.
Probably going to buy your product.
Who's going to buy your product? Right. You've got to know who's going to buy your product. So that's one piece of the market analysis. Who are you? What is it you're going to buy? Who is your customer? Who really has the money to buy your product? This is just one of the lessons that we'll focus on in Startup Quest, because you must go through that market analysis process. Can you imagine if you were, oh my goodness, I already got the 1 minute figure.
Yeah.
All right. So, as Clay was saying, if you thought back to Gatorade, in 1965 when Gatorade was created, this was the only option on the market, right? It was water and sugar. So they wanted to create something better. Keep going. There's a long process from that idea of creating something better to getting the right product, to doing the right market analysis that leads to success. This is the whole process that we take you through in Startup Quest. And not only do we just teach it, but then as Clay said, we actually will hand you a technology, and over that 10-week period, you will build your professional pitch for that product. You will create a great script. You will create, I heard it right here from Tom and George, you will create that business plan, that complete, flushed out business plan that you could show to anybody, be that the world's greatest banker or VC, etc. And that's what you will walk. So by the end of Startup Quest, you can say, I've done this before. Now, what if I wanted to create a jewelry company? What would I do? What if I wanted to create this kind of a company? I can take those lessons and I can move forward. And our goal, the next slide, is, as Clay said, there aren't going to be enough jobs. So let's create new companies, let's create new jobs right here in Florida. And that's really what we now want to open this up to you. Say, look, September 3rd, as it says, we will start this program again. We can get 100 participants in the program. But in the end, how many companies will they create? We're not satisfied. We want them to create more companies. So, help us. What do we need to do that we're not doing today so that we create more companies as a result of this program that Clay has brought to us? That's Sean.
Do you have competitors?
Well, I think we have lots of competitors. I just heard Sean Kennedy say, hey, I'm starting a 10-week program here at the greenhouse on how to grade. So, yes, but I think, and I'm going to be a little
You gotta
repetitive.
bring your own intellectual property.
Right? So that's the difference. Sean said, bring your own intellectual property. We're saying, you know what? I don't want you to bring yours. It's going to be a little bit too literal because you'll bring that baggage with you. You've already got these so we're going to make you work on something different. So we break you away from all the, oh, we can't do this, we can't do that, right? And once you get practice, then you think, well, wait a minute, maybe I need to rethink what I thought before were my obstacles. So we have competitors, but it's a place that I think we have a unique approach.
What types of mentors do you have in this program to help people through this process?
Tech entrepreneurs are sort of our target mentor, and then just people with management experience that have worked in startups before. We have some that have actually commercialized technologies, but really what we're looking for is a good manager, an entrepreneur that they can lead.
And we did this last year in Pinellas County. We had a fabulous team of mentors. I mean, people, graduated from Harvard and Johns Hopkins, and people who used to work for SRI International here in town. So really, really, yeah. And that's another thing about Startup Quest is those people that you network and meet with. Frank Wells, is a guest speaker at Startup Quest. You get to interact and learn more about Frank. Is that a question? Or
Yeah, it's a question. With the Tampa Innovation Center, we've had companies be successful licensing technologies out of universities and research labs. Is there a way from the business side, because it's a mixed audience in here, is there a way from the business side for them to get involved in the front end of finding the technology in order to get vetted through Startup Quest with the business plan if they're not a mentor?
Wow.
Right now, all of the technologies are required to come through one of Florida State's universities or NASA, but that might be something,
But if there's a company that has one or an entrepreneur that has one that they're thinking about licensing out of one of those, but they would love to have a team do some kind of business analysis on it. Is there a way for the business side to get involved in the front end?
Let's think about it. Okay, can I just take that as a question? I think it's very good insight. What to think about that? Questions?
So, your big success story and your example here is clearly a non-tech product. And yet you're saying that you're specifically focused on tech. What's the rationale there? You came from non-tech.
Well, I'm going to actually,
as a non-tech person, it's a little.
I'm going to disagree with Clay's statement on that because in the portfolio of products that you're allowed to pick from, there are some very non-technical things in there. We have had people do things all the way from medical devices to something that helps a child learn to read.
Well, it's still it's an integral part of your presentation. So it leaves the audience with the impression if you don't have a tech startup idea, don't talk to us.
We'll take that as feedback. Again, our universe officially is what is available that the universities. There's no point we haven't made. You're not the inventor. The university system that we put all this money into is inventing stuff all the time. And then says, I did it here, I invented it. It's on the shelf. Okay, I'm doing it. So that's the question. This is your opportunity to take something off their shelf and say, man, I can build a great. That's what Danielle said, a great company around this.
Right.
Yeah. It probably helped because I coached some of these companies. I went in and taught the capital structure module. So they're tech companies, but they're not web tech, mobile tech. You got to think about technology, what the word actually means. So these are research that comes out of universities that get transferred. So it's everything from a new kind of solar panel substrate to bridge reinforcement stuff to material science stuff.
Okay, fair enough, but I'm probably not the only person in the room who had the impression.
Yes,
right,
This
right.
is strictly for internet type.
No,
Right,
no.
so
We're listening. We're trying to listen.
yeah.
How do you promote Startup Quest?
Through, I'm actually an employee of Career Source, which is a nonprofit who puts on Startup Quest right now. So we have networking groups for unemployed or underemployed people through that, and then just mailing lists and different trade show type things, career fairs, because our target is really underemployed and unemployed people right now. Help them.
So, but I want everybody that's here to go tell 4 people you know that, hey, here's a program paid for by your tax dollars. I don't think we even said that. So if you qualify and get accepted, it's free. Everything is provided for you. Here's a program, 4 people that you know, that you go get the benefit of this education. Please do that. Tell 4 people. That's a great question.
Okay, I have a question. What are the qualifications? And can a 19-year-old high school?
You're required to have at least a bachelor's degree or higher, or an associate's plus experience. So they're looking for sort of that high degree person to get in and really be able to work hard and perform companies.
Go ahead.
How can somebody learn about a licensable technology that might be in one of the Florida universities? You know, if I'm a business person and I know nothing about some research technology, but how can I learn about those that they might want a license to?
It's public information. Go to any of the state universities' websites and look for the Office of Technology Transfer, which I think is where technology comes out again. It's any research, internal of the university. Those faculty members are under a certain structure. The university ends up owning what they've done. That comes out to us from the Office of Technology Licensing, no matter what that research is. So go to the OTL site. The back.
Okay, so the program is funded through government grants, right? Tax dollars, government grants. But your program is about teaching people how to start businesses and make them profitable. So is there a plan in the future to transition Startup Quest from being a tax-fed entity to being something that actually self-funds, has its own revenue streams, maybe does some revenue share with the companies that you're creating, so you can show people our work is making us profitable to get off the government back and take the thing and carry it ourselves? Is that a plan in the future?
Yeah, and they're looking at lots of models on how to expand it now, just trying to find the best model. And really, what we need to do is have companies come out of it and be successful, and that's what will propel it and make it sellable.
I'm kind of familiar with sort of the market that you're looking at in terms of younger people wanting to start a...
Who said younger? It's definitely not qualifications, so go ahead.
Okay, all right, so that's another misperception that I guess
Okay.
I have here. In terms of students who may be interested that will end up being underemployed or not employed, but might be interested in starting a company, my experience with it, I have 3 sons who went through that process, is that when you look at UF, you gave the example of UF, there are large companies that come over and talk to students before they graduate and pick the best students out there, make them offers, give them internships, give them a lot of things. So it takes out of the market a lot of kids who are bright, who would be capable of starting companies like that immediately off the market. So my question to you is, would it make sense for you to make presentations at universities like these large companies do and say, if you feel that you'd like to start a company instead of working for a company, we're here to help you? Because I know students who have accepted those jobs and are doing very well, and I know others who all the time kept on saying, I'm going to wait until the end, I'm not really happy with these proposals I have, and I would like to do something else. That would have been a great alternative in my opinion.
And can I just tack on to the end of that question? Do you need to be in the career source system, currently searching for work or something like that to qualify?
Yes, you do need to be in the career source system, which you can sign up for, though, so it's an easy transition.
So when you tell those 4 people they need to go to Career Source and sign up?
Yes.
Okay, tell 4 people, tell them to go to Career Source and sign up.
And what is career source?
It is the local workforce board, so it's a nonprofit that's state funded, that helps people find work, basically. And tries to,
So what we're trying to use now, instead of just saying, and this company has a job on their board, we're saying, if you can take a technology and build a new company, now you have created your own work and perhaps work for others.
You may want to build some of that into this presentation because it's, I don't know where to go from here.
Okay, so where to go from here is to CareerSource dot,
there's actually flyers.
flyers on the back, but it's CareerSource dot what?
CareerSourcePinellas.com.
All right,
Is that,
sign up.
is that part of unemployment?
No.
No, it's just a, it's a different entity. And I have another question. You're focusing in on educated individuals that have a college degree, but isn't a majority of our workforce undereducated folks out there, and they also have ideas and concepts too, as well, to want to get out in the market?
And that's something that they're looking at when they expand it, or to expand it further to include more people. It was just the way that it was written from the beginning of Gainesville.
So I just want to so because we've accepted the federal government's money to pay for this, they wrote the rule. And the rule says, right now, we'll pay for this as long as people have a college degree. This will end in about another 18 months, and maybe it dies, or maybe, I like the suggestion in the back, we find a way to make this self-sustaining, and we can write our own rules.
I'm looking at it from an artist perspective, and all of my artist friends who may not have college degrees, but they do have a scalable business.
I hope everybody sees the connection between your presentation and this presentation, because I think the connection is very tight.
Two things. One is a concept. You might want to change the technology word to intellectual property, which kind of creates all kinds of things. But the other is who assigns the participants to a particular product, piece of intellectual property to develop.
Right.
I mean,
So during the first session, the mentors will get in front of everyone and talk about their background and the technology that they selected. And then the participants will have the opportunity to self-select and just write down which team they want to be on, 1 through 10. And then we try and pair it with
so something they believe in, something they understand, something
They try, but you have to remember, again, in the end, our goal is to get the participant in the room and to give them the opportunity for the education. So even if they end up for 10 weeks working on a matchstick that they don't care about, okay, they need to embrace the education. So at the end,
they're learning the
they have
process,
right.
and it may end up that they go off and use it for another
Right.
reason.
Okay. So,
Hi, I attended your final presentation last year. Very well organized. I have a few suggestions. It looked a little too structured and very regimented, and there was no audience participation. The groups came up mechanically, one of them gave a presentation, moved off stage, kept going on and on. So is there any way to make it a little more, less rigid, more participatory? Does that make sense?
I would love if you could actually answer that question at some point and give us, ideas. So what would make that a more attractive
Audience
session?
participation, questions, that way, when the group gets challenged, what was happening is the groups came on stage,
Right.
one of them presented, very formal, very structured, and then they just went off stage. And there was no participation from the audience or from the judges or anybody. So there was no feedback going both back and forth. So if
Okay.
anything could be included.
Thank you. Anyone else? I'm going behind you, Joe.
I work with a group that tries to place severely disabled college graduates who, with master's degrees, still usually 70% are unemployed after 5 years. I think this is a really good connection because we really concentrate on placement in the industry, as Philippe said, as opposed to startup. Is there a way you can work with a group who's working with a group as opposed to individuals signing up individually through career quests?
As it stands right now, it has to be individuals, but, everyone would be welcome as long as they, have a degree to join.
Please sign them up. Sign them. And I'll just say, they probably will end up on different teams throughout the program, But again, that's right. You know, it's like the heterogeneousness in this room. This is why this is powerful, because you don't all look like me, you know.
Yeah.
Thank you. I see this working actually internationally, but in terms of getting the partnerships, how do you negotiate with the state universities or NASA, et cetera, to get those things working?
They're really eager to get their technologies into the marketplace, so they look at it as an opportunity to sort of market, you know, their tech transfer offices, which are sort of under the radar and a good resource for them. And also, the technologies that they loan, they want to learn more about them. So after a company goes through the program and puts together a business plan, then we give those business plans back to the universities so that they can it sort of vets their technologies